Hey everyone, my name is Alec and welcome to another edition of MASL Midweek, where I break down the past and predict the future for the MASL. As always, we have plenty to talk about this week, including a brand new site for some MASL games this season, so let's get to it. We'll start off by talking about last week's games. We had 4 of them, and boy were they some good games. We started off with the Ontario Fury beating the St. Louis Ambush, then we moved on to the Comets beating the Stars, followed by the Stars losing to the Ambush, and the Comets beating the Fury. And what this weekend taught me was that this league has some tremendous parity in it this season, with the exception of probably Dallas, who has very much underperformed this season. I could see any of the teams, any of the remaining 6 teams, winning the championship this year, whatever form the championship takes. Now, I know what you're saying. St. Louis, they've had some real troubles against Ontario. Last time they played, you could kind of write it off because St. Louis had so many issues with COVID. And yes, they still had some injury issues in this game, but the Fury have just had the Ambush's number this year. And that is very true. But the Ambush are a really well-coached team, and Everton, I think, has done a fantastic job with them, and I could see them finding a way to beat the Fury, especially when it comes to the playoffs. And for that matter, the Ambush, I think they could beat any other team in the league easily, and if the playoffs work out where another team knocks out the Fury before the Ambush have to play them, well, the Fury, or the Ambush, I should say, have a clear path to the championship then. So that's really my big takeaway from this weekend, which I think we all already kind of knew. This league has tremendous parity this season. It's awesome to watch. It makes the games a ton of fun, and I really can't wait to see how things play out in the playoffs, however they look, because I think it's going to be something else. Next up is my new segment, my compliment sandwich for the league. This is meant to be a portion where I give some constructive feedback for the league, where I start off with something positive, then I give them an area where they could improve, and finish with something else that is positive. This week we'll start off with something that isn't really specific to this week, but it's something the league has done a fantastic job with this year, and that is highlight videos. When you go to the MASL's Facebook page, and I believe they post them on YouTube as well, the league has done an awesome job creating these very exciting highlight videos. They show off just how amazing this sport is, and they do a great job with that, so big props to the league for those highlight videos. Now for a bit of a criticism, and again, this is something that has been going on for a while now, but I feel the need to note it. I would like to see the teams that are not playing this season, I would like to see them be a little bit more active on social media. And this is something that has been an ongoing criticism of the league, especially during the off season where for a lot of teams they go radio silent. And I don't think that is a good way to get your brand out there. It's not a good way to build within your community. And I understand that this season is kind of difficult because you're not playing and there's not necessarily a ton to talk about. But it does seem like a lot of these teams are going radio silent again on social media. And I think one of the opportunities these teams have to get their word out there a little bit more is to follow the players that they have on loan. And I've seen a little bit of this from teams, but I'd like to see more of it, where you take a team that's taken the year off and every week or so they check in on one of their players on loan and tell their fans about how they are doing in whatever city they're playing in for this season. And I should put a caveat in here that there's a chance the teams have already been doing this, but we all know Facebook is kind of weird with their algorithms and posts that they show off and posts that they don't show off. So there's a chance that just I personally have not been seeing these posts. So if you have seen them, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I'd be very happy to hear that it's just a weird experience for me, but I have a sense that it's not. I have a sense it's just the teams not posting maybe as much as they should. And to wrap up our sandwich, I want to give the league another positive, which again is something that has been ongoing for a while, but this is a new segment. I have a lot to catch up with. And that positive is the broadcasts this year. I know there is one team in particular that has not done a great job with them, but I feel like the other teams have done a really good job with the broadcasts this year. Some have been better than others, and I'm not going to name names, but overall, I feel like the league has done a great job with the broadcast this year. I think that they're representing the sport very well. I think that they've made it worth fans paying for the experience this year. So I want to give the league a lot of credit for that, especially the teams that have really stepped it up this season. I think that's awesome. I hope they continue to make strides. I hope they continue to improve. And I hope the teams that have not met those standards, I hope they're able to catch up with them in the not too distant future. I'll also say that I'm very excited to see how Ontario handles their broadcasts. In the past, they've had pretty good broadcasts, so I have every reason to believe they're going to be awesome as well this season. I'm just very excited to see how they look. And I think that nicely segues into our picks for this week, because Ontario is going to be hosting some games this week. Some of you might remember that a few weeks ago, I was a bit nervous about Ontario hosting games because of the potential for a COVID spike in California. Doesn't seem like that happened. Seems like these games are going to happen, and boy, am I excited for them. The first game that we have is the Ontario Fury hosting the Florida Tropics, and the Fury have an opportunity for revenge in this game. The Tropics were the team that handed the Fury their first loss of the season. They're also the team that prevented the Fury from getting a clean sweep in the Sunshine Series. So the Fury have a chance to get a little bit of revenge here, and I think that they will. I think that the Fury were very competitive against the Tropics in that game during the Sunshine Series. I believe the Fury only lost by 1 goal in that one. It was the third game of a weekend series for the Fury. They were on the road. That's tough for any team. The Fury since then have still looked very good and very dominant. So I think the fact that this game is in Ontario and the Fury will be playing on some rest bodes very well for them. I'm picking Ontario to win this one. Then after that, we stay in Ontario, but this time we have the Stars playing there as the home team, and they are hosting the Florida Tropics. And the Stars, they looked like they were finally getting into form this past weekend. I've said in the past that I think the Stars' offense looked a little bit anemic earlier on, at least at some parts this season. Looked like they finally settled into a rhythm this past weekend, and I think they'll keep that up in this one. And I think that makes them a dangerous enough team that they will beat the Tropics, especially because the Tropics will be playing after their previous game against the Fury the night before, and the Stars will be playing on lots of rest. So it's not looking like a great week for the Tropics, because I'm picking them to lose this game. I'm picking the Stars to win. Then on Friday, we have the St. Louis Ambush hosting the Dallas XXIX. The XXIX are the one team that I don't think really has a chance of winning the championship this year. St. Louis, I believe they very much do. So it's an easy pick for me. I'm picking St. Louis. Also on Friday, we have the Ontario Fury hosting the Tacoma Stars. I'm looking forward to this one. I think it will be a competitive game, but I just don't think the Stars will be able to keep up with Ontario's high-powered offense, so I'm picking the Fury. Then on Saturday, we have the Ontario Fury hosting the San Diego Sockers. The Sockers, where is their offense this season? They just haven't been able to get it going. I feel like every week I say, well, this will be the week the Sockers get it going. I'm not saying that this week. The Sockers have to prove it to me that this will be the week their offense gets going. I don't have that proof right now, so I'm picking the Fury. After that, on Sunday, we have the San Diego Sockers hosting the Tacoma Stars. And for similar reasons that I'm picking Ontario to beat the Sockers, I'm also picking the Stars to beat the Sockers. I'm picking Tacoma. And then finally for this weekend, we have the Kansas City Comets hosting the Dallas XXIX. I'm picking Kansas City in this one. I don't think I need to explain that pick to you. And with that, I think I can wrap this episode up. I've been drinking some coffee, so I apologize for talking so fast. But hey, while you're here, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.